Good afternoon, YouTube, my subscribers. I really had to stick to my guns, stick to my theme, what we do here at Sports-A-Delic. We're not just doing sports, we're doing a combination. We're combining sports with current events. And I'm going to tell you a quick story. But before I do that, I want you to subscribe, share, like this video. I think you're going to find it useful, educational, fruitful. I think you're going to be able to take some nuggets away from this video that's going to also be beneficial to hopefully some young person and some people who might need to reshape their thinking, how they think about these type of issues. But before I do that, I have to light up. Definitely interested in hearing your comments. Please put those below. And if you want to know which particular stick I'm enjoying, just ask, I'll tell you. It's good. Mm. Mm. I mean, really, what the R. Kelly? Now, this is something that has been out there, like we know, the better part of 25, 30 years. And as I said, I'm going to share a story. I had the pleasure of playing basketball with and against R. Kelly. He was here in Atlanta over at, the old Run and Shoot. And I'm telling you, R. Kelly has some serious basketball game. Or I should say he did. Like, by all accounts, he could have been collegiate. At the minimum, he could have played overseas, possibly in the NBA. He was really that good in basketball. And to kind of see the fall from grace, to this degree, it's sad, because at the end of the day, whether you're right, whether you're wrong, he's still a human being, right? I really feel for his children, because everything that he's done to this point is his legacy, which ultimately his children have to fall back on. In a perfect world, you would want it to work out to where they could benefit, from, his music and all that his music has brought to the world. We cannot dispute that this man, from a music standpoint, if not one of the best, if not the best, one of the best, to ever do it. I don't think that's what's in question. What's in question was the hiding in plain sight and how we missed the message, really, in some of his music. But I'm going to share some information with you. And like I said, I hope that it sticks. I hope that it resonates. But above that, I hope that it becomes something educational that you want to share with someone else, so they can better benefit from it. Again, please hit the subscribe, smash it. And on a little lighter note, my business partner, to give you an indication of how much this R. Kelly verdict and it finally seemingly coming to an end has affected me, because he says, he turns, he looks at me and he says, we need to do a R. Kelly video. And call it trauma or something. I was like, an R. Kelly video, just because what has traditionally been associated with his videos. And I was like, if somebody was walking past and heard that, like, how would it really register in an R. Kelly video? But then he clarified for me, brought the temperature down. I drunk a few cups of water, and I'm back on track now. But that's the degree of the wildness associated with this whole process with this gentleman. But I want you to think about this. This is scary. 93% 93% of children that have been sexually victimized, they know the perpetrator. 93% know the perpetrator. That's very scary, because that means 93% of the time that you come into contact with someone, that's the person that potentially could, traumatize you in a deviant sexual manner. 93%. That's extremely, incredibly high. What that 93% says, more likely than not, it's going to be someone that you know, someone that's close to your family, a brother, a sister, a cousin, the neighbor, so that's scary when you think about it in those type of terms, and of that 93%, 60% is by someone that the family absolutely trusts. So now we're going past just kind of knowing the perpetrator or knowing of the perpetrator, but now we're diving 60% into the fact that the family trusts them. So that means they have easier access to get off whatever bad intentions that they may have. 60%, extremely high. That means the people that you trust, that can be around your children, that can be in your home, that can be in your life, are the ones that shouldn't be. And that's scary when you think about it. It's almost like, well, how do you really protect your children, from these type of, pedophiles? School teacher, that falls in the category of someone that the kid knows, right? Or a coach. And then Auntie Ethel, or the classic Uncle Luke. No disrespect to Luke, but you know what I'm saying. So that just becomes mind-boggling when you think about the real inability that you really do have to protect your child from being sexually assaulted. That's what that really says. As scary as that may sound, that's exactly what that says. But another point that I want to make, because we see this even at a lower economic level, that your friends are either hanger-ons, or these are people that really value you. And it's obvious that R. Kelly did not have one single friend. Not one friend. Because I'm now 50, and I still can count on one hand and a couple of fingers how many friends that I actually have. I mean, actually, truly have, like, even from high school, may not even have anyone from high school. Except for T.I. What's up, T.I.? That's Tony Isaac. I just wanted to give you a shout out. Still friends from high school. That comes to mind. But not one single friend. Because no one has come forward and say, I adamantly tried to get R. Kelly to get help, because he admitted he was sexually assaulted, sexually abused. We know from the statistical proven data that the chances of you becoming a perpetrator of sexual violence is greater if you yourself have been sexually victimized as a child. But no one has come forward and said, hey, I've been over backwards. Here are the things that I did to try to get him the help so he could save his career, save his legacy. Because there were just not any there. Everybody was tossing it up, fiesta, bumping and grinding, and, hanging out here, doing this, doing that. just believing and loving in the music and taking his money, because I do believe that every artist, every celebrity always talks about the money that people stole from them. So he's not lying about that. But the true sadness for me inside of listening to this story is that not one, he's 54 years old, 53, 54, and not one friend. So he has to not just deal with the finality of his legal situation, but I guarantee you he's sitting there in real pain because he realized never had not one single friend. Because we need our friends to protect us, from ourselves, sometimes. Now, the other bone that I have to pick, some people are going to be upset with me. I get it. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share, and definitely leave your comments, because I like feedback. Like I said, we can be passionate. We can get heated with whatever it is that we want to put out, but we still going to be respectful. There's not going to be any name calling and threats and any of that madness. But speak your piece. I want to hear it. But I am sick and tired of the victim in some shape, form, or fashion being blamed. Can you play a role in what happens to you? Absolutely you can. But I think that role really diminishes tiny when you're talking about 12, 13, 14-year-olds. They don't have the capacity, they're impressionable. They're impressionable. You can tell a child just about anything and they're going to believe you. And then we know from the statistical data that somewhere between 60 and 93%, they're already comfortable with you anyway. So that's why you can tell them whatever it is, and they will find themselves in a situation that they can't compete. Young girls, if you want to dress skankified and bare, so to speak, it's not that you're not beautiful. It's not that there's anything wrong with that. The problem is you're not prepared, you're not mature enough, your brain ain't developed enough to deal with the debris that comes along dressing that way. Now, men, you have to start holding yourself accountable. If you don't know that you're talking to a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old teenager, it's because you don't want to know. Why is it that we know as women? When I was 25, I knew if a 15-year-old boy was trying to holler at me. I played, basketball, so it wasn't uncommon for a 14, 15-year-old boy to be 6'2", 6'3", physically looking like he's older. That's why communication is so important. Because I guarantee you, if you just open your mouth and talk to her for 2 minutes, you're going to know she's lied to me about her age. Guaranteed. But when you want to slip and slide on that slope, you don't get to call foul, after you get yourself caught up in something. And I know 3 guys, I know them quite well, lost their whole career messing around with these 15-year-olds. And he said, I didn't know that she was 15 because she looked, and I stopped him. I said, stop right there. Stop right there. We're not talking about looks. We're not talking about that. You have to hold yourself accountable when you are dealing with children. And if you don't know that she's a child, then you whatever happens to you, be man enough to just sit there, ride that on out. That's how I feel about it. But I think someone said that if a young girl is lying about her age, that she should be, penalized, and the guy that she lied to should just get off with community service or something. Now, of course, the same guy that said this, it was a call-in show, because I know damn well he's not going to show his face on national television after saying some crap like that. The bottom line is we have to respect ourselves more, and then it makes it easier to respect, our young people. I'm an advocate, for all children, but there's a special place in my heart for those that are easily victimized and taken advantage of. And so I feel sorry for R. Kelly from his demise standpoint, but I don't feel sorry that he may get 10, 15, 20, 30 years in prison. It's sad just at a humanitarian level, but, like they say, if you can't do the time, you just can't do the crime. But of course, nobody's thinking about that. My last point is this also goes to the importance of mental illness, and it has to be taken seriously. And a lot of people don't. Let's just be real. And when we talk about the things from a black community standpoint, the biggest thing that has plagued us is we don't believe in therapy. We don't believe in counseling. Now, I think that there's strides being made, in this area as it relates to our race, but still we have, ways to go. But mental illness is real. It's very prevalent. We know it, but it's time for us to go beyond the know and start taking steps to help our loved ones, our friends, or even if it's a casual acquaintance that you see needs that intervention, take those extra steps. It would have made all the difference in the world for someone, like R. Kelly. But I don't want us as black people to constantly diminish, someone's responsibility and accountability strictly just based on race. This is not going on with R. Kelly because, it's a black man, let's destroy the black man. Where there's smoke, there's fire. This is smoke, right? And it's lit because of the fire. Where there's smoke, there is fire. And so he was doing something. Is he guilty of everything? No. But he's been doing something that landed him in this situation, and it's not because he's black. That's just, ridiculous. And that's my message to us as black people. Let's not diminish, a storyline and try to change the narrative and always make it be race. Because if everything is, just because we're black, well, that diminishes the cause. That diminishes the effort. That turns the ears off of people that may need to listen, that can be helpful. R. Kelly is in this situation because of R. Kelly, and because he did not have a friend or a family member around him to insist that he get the help and intervention that he needed. And if he was Chinese, Korean, Caucasian, and the same thing the same way, it's going to yield the same, result in terms of people are tired of this celebrity getting away, or seemingly, because now it is true. Sometimes if you have enough money, you can get the representation that you need. But I think we're just at a point in society where it's time out for all of that. There's no more free passes, regardless of your skin color or your celebrity status. That's just where we are. And so that's my message. Young girls, don't be in a hurry to grow up. There's no fun being an adult. And to these grown-ass men, if you don't know that you're talking to a child, then you need to just go ahead and stay in the house. Or hold yourself accountable and just stop with the tomfoolery. You don't care because you just see the physical, you just see that easy prey. That's all that you care about. That's why you find yourself in a negative situation, in a legal situation, dealing with a young girl. You don't care. It's not that you didn't know, you just don't care. So that's my new thing. Hashtag start caring. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share me. And definitely I want to hear your comments. Thanks for tuning in.